Welcome to Pankinen Financial Perspective with Ashton Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. Planning for your financial future means navigating challenges like market volatility, inflation, and retirement income. Pankinen Financial Perspective is here to help by addressing common financial concerns, sharing valuable strategies, and exploring ways you can work toward your financial goals. Now let's get started with Pankinen Financial Perspective.
Hello and welcome to Pankinen Financial Perspective. My name is Ashton Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 952-873-2703 or visit us online at pankinenfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com. And while at my website, click on the radio page to check out past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Also, subscribe to my newsletters or click the link at the top of the page to get a retirement guide. Sunday, June 15th is National Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and it's designed to fuel conversation about how older people can protect themselves and how younger people can protect the older people they care about. Elder abuse encompasses many things, including physical abuse, emotional and psychological abuse, neglect, abandonment, and financial abuse. During today's show, we're going to first discuss how elder abuse can be prevented before pivoting into a conversation about some of the biggest financial scams that are currently targeting older people. But before we get into our timely topic, let me introduce my co-host, Tony Shore.
Ashton, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today. I appreciate that. And I'm excited about the topic we have today. But before that, tell me how you've been. What have you been up to?
Yeah, Tony, I've been great. We spent the weekend in Cannon Falls, camping, one of the local campgrounds there. Very nice small town here, south of the metro there, right along 52.
Yeah.
Beautiful river valley running right through town there. And yeah, we really enjoyed it and snuck into the bakery there that had some fresh baked goods. The kids really enjoyed that. They fought over which sugar cookies they got to have. There was only one mermaid sugar cookie, Tony.
That's usually
two little girls.
That's problematic. Only one mermaid cookie and two little girls.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a problem. I like how you say the kids really enjoyed the bakery.
Yeah. We might have had a donut there as well.
Ashton,
yeah.
I think Ashton enjoyed the bakery. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. How have you been, Tony?
I've been pretty good. You know, I have camped in Cannon Falls as well. I like Cannon Falls with my son. When he was in Scouts, they have a scout camp there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the same camp that they use as a scout camp, or I think it's just a scout camp that we were at. But
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice area, and they had a swimming pool at the campground, so the kids, of course, love that. So.
Yep, there was a swimming pool at this campground. I bet that's the same campground.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, in fact, we did a winter camp there, and they had a sliding hill, a toboggan, and tubing hill. That was fun.
Yeah, that's serious camping. We have a camper, so no tents, no winter camping.
I had to winter camp there once, and I said never again. So there you have it. Well, hey, I think we've got a great show today. You've got a good one lined up for us. But first, I want to talk about, Ashton, this topic for me. I get so upset. This is probably this one angers me, that people would take advantage of the elderly or seniors, maybe people who aren't as technologically advanced. They don't understand technology as much, and they don't understand the way things have progressed, maybe. So it's despicable. And I don't understand the kind of person that would do this. I don't know how they sleep at night, but there are so many scams out there that take advantage of older people, right?
Yeah, it's real unfortunate. And the numbers are astronomical, Tony. Older people are swindled out of more than $3 billion each year. That's with a B, $1 billion each year. More than 3.5 million older adults fall victim to this. And then on average, the loss is about $34,000 for those individuals that fall for some of these scams that are out there.
3 billion a year Americans are swindled out of.
Yes.
And that's just here. I just, that's shocking. That's a huge number. So what advice do you have for our listeners out there about protecting themselves or their loved ones and friends?
Yeah, we want to make sure that we have a conversation about this. The more we talk about it, the more educated we become on it, the more aware we become of some of these different scams out there, I guess, financial abuse of some sort. And it's not only the scams, Tony, sometimes it can involve loved ones or, family or caregivers, maybe taking advantage of a loved one, older person who, again, maybe is starting to lose a little cognitive impairment or having a little cognitive impairment.
Yeah.
And so again, it's just important to continue to have conversations about it and bring it up. Maybe use a story you've seen in the news on some of these scams that are out there as a way to kind of bridge that gap of how do I bring up this topic even. And I've got clients, if you deal with a financial service professional like myself, I've got clients calling me all the time or, asking me questions on, hey, this letter I got in the mail, is this real, Ashton? Is the IRS really going to come take me to jail because I, whatever reason of fear they give you. And so I have them bring in letters or, maybe they'll call me and say, hey, Ashton, I've got an email. Is this something that's legitimate or not? And again, it's just important to have that conversation and have trusted people, whether that's family members or a financial advisor that you can call and ask questions about this.
Communication is key, and you can't be embarrassed by it, right? If you fell for a scam or feel like you might be being scammed, make sure you talk to your family about it, or even better, talk to a financial professional. I know, Ashton, you've heard about all of these over the years, and you can say, hey, no, that's probably not legit. Most of the time, if somebody's asking you for a gift card or money in any way or personal information, it's a scam. Yeah. Almost always now. So
almost always.
If you're getting a text from somebody you don't know or a call or an email, it's a scam. I just assume it is. And then, if it's not, later, you'll eventually find out or figure it out, or somebody will get a hold of you in person. So
yeah,
that's my theory. And I like the idea of the elderly not only having family members that they can rely on, but also working with their own financial professional like yourself, because the bigger your team, the better your protection, right?
Yeah. And again, those conversations need to be had, and money talks should be a family tradition, but unfortunately in the Midwest here, it's kind of taboo to talk about money.
Yeah, it is. Boy, my grandfather and my dad, my parents, you didn't talk to them about their money, and they didn't talk to you about it either, ever.
No. And it's important to keep those, especially as we age, to keep those loved ones informed. A lot of times it's going to be your beneficiaries. Most of the time it's going to be those kids. You got to keep them informed on your financial situation, so then they can kind of be aware of, oh, geez, something's off here. Why is mom or dad, doing this with their money? So we can have some open dialogue about what's going on. So we have warning systems out there in place. And sometimes can even be as much as giving them access to be able to view, access only on bank accounts or investment accounts, so they can see, hey, what are these transactions happening? Because the sooner we catch these, the fraud, the sooner we can stop it, and the less money that gets scammed away from us there.
Well, okay. So what are some of the formal steps that people can take to better protect themselves and their assets?
Yeah, again, just regular review, getting your financial house in order, making sure we got a kind of a roadmap of what we want to happen as we age here. And so a lot of times that's getting a power of attorney in place. Power of attorney. In case, we do have an unexpected health concern or loss of cognitive ability, that we have someone we love and trust that's going to be able to help us with our finances. I always, my kids aren't at the age yet where I know which one that's going to be, but usually there's one kid that gets picked out of however many there are.
Sure. Yep.
to choose to be that person, or maybe it's multiple. Sometimes it's two people listed on that durable power of attorney, and
Yeah.
they can act alone or together. And again, that's important part to, again, before we get to that point where we're starting to have some issues down the line, to get some of that in place, Tony.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So if our listeners out there have questions about this or think that maybe they might be getting scammed, how can they get a hold of you with questions? Or if they want to set up a financial plan and make sure they have a financial advisor on their team, what do they do?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of us is reach out to our office here, 952-873-2703. Again, that's 952-873-2703, or you can visit our website, pankinonfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com. And then again, we can help you with any questions you have. Get a financial professional on your team to help with those questions that you may have. A lot of times we also sit down with your beneficiary or power of attorney as well to make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to those financial goals and needs. And so again, that open communication. So if we see something that seems a little off, we make sure we reach out to that trusted person. And actually we have trusted contacts now that we keep on file as well for most of our clients here. Just again, last time I spoke with mom or dad, they repeated themselves a couple times. How are they doing cognitively? And we can have those conversations to make sure these vulnerable people aren't being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I know that you love to hear from our listeners with questions. And again, communication is key. If you hear something or have a gut feeling, say something, right? Communication. Exactly. And now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. What are some things that are going on out there? What can we do to protect ourselves? We're talking about June 15th is National Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
Yep.
And Ashton, I think it should be the whole month of June. And I think that we should do more things to shine the light on some of these scams that are going on. We're talking about how to better protect ourselves. What's next?
Yeah. So there's some simple tech savvy moves you can do. Send unknown calls straight to voicemail.
Yeah.
So you don't have to even have that conversation with them. And again, if it's someone that needs to get back to you, they'll leave a voicemail. Freeze your credit if you're not applying for new lines of credit. Again, a way to kind of protect you there. And then tighten up privacy settings on social media, so that not everybody can find you, find out information about you. Another big thing I see on social media too is people posting like, oh, answer these fun 20 questions. Well, a lot of them are your security questions that you're asked for extra security when you log into different accounts. So where'd you and your spouse meet? Well, again, that's a security question, or your father's, name, those types of things. And so just being really aware what information you're putting out there for people to see. And I know it's great. Social media can be a great thing for friends, families to stay connected. But again, just be careful what information you're actually sharing out there. One of the things, Tony, that's different about, I guess, the older generation is they didn't have access to the internet when they were in school. And so no one taught them the protocols of, hey, everything on the web internet is not everything's good out there. Whether it be false information or, scammers trying to come after you. And so again, the education may not be there on the do's and don'ts of social media and or the internet. So again, that's where we have open conversations with our loved ones on, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing some of these things, clicking on those certain items that pop up out there, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't take calls from unknown callers. You mentioned that at the beginning. And I want to stress the point, you alluded to this earlier, but for our listeners out there, the Social Security Administration, the IRS, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, none of those government agencies or companies will ever, for any reason, call you.
Yeah.
They will never, ever call you. And
Yep.
you say, well, no, I've gotten calls from Social Security, IRS. Nope, you haven't. It's a scam. They won't call you ever.
Yes.
And they say that. So
Yeah.
if they say they're with the IRS or Social Security, they're not. If they say they're with Microsoft, Microsoft's never going to call you about your computer. All those major companies and online companies like Amazon and Google, not only will they not call you, good luck ever getting someone from those companies on the phone.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to, you can't. So, and it's the same with texts. If somebody's texting you saying you owe money or you have an unpaid parking ticket or an unpaid traffic ticket, that's a scam that's going around right now.
Yeah.
Don't respond to any of those texts. Just delete them.
And don't click the links either in those
Don't
texts.
ever click
Yeah.
a link in a text
Yep.
unless you're absolutely sure it's from somebody that you know and trust. And that's really important. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring up Microsoft, Tony, because I actually got 2 texts this morning from Microsoft verifying my two-factor verification, actually. And so somebody was trying to log into my account, but because I have two-factor verification, they weren't able to get in. So
Yep,
that's another
good.
piece is passwords. Don't have your password be password 123. One of the most common names out there.
Yeah, and they say don't use the same password for every account. And I've been guilty of that in the past.
Yeah.
You should have a different password for every account and then have it secure somewhere where your list of passwords is and let a close loved one know, someone you trust, like your spouse or a child, one of your kids, let them know where that is, if they're adult children. Don't let non-adult children, if they're 30 or over, maybe you trust them with that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely password applications out there that you can use to keep those, or a password protected Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah,
something like that out there. And then if you get a call and you think it's the IRS or you think it's your mortgage company, saying, hey, you're late on the payment, we need to take this payment over the phone, hang up, call your actual bank, talk to someone there. And again, that's a good way to verify they are who they say they are. Just, hanging up and calling that actual institution as well. Or again, talking to somebody you trust about it as well. Like, hey, I got this call. Is it legitimate or not? And again, a lot of people work with small town banks. And so it's pretty easy to hang up and call back that bank and say, hey, what's going on here?
A lot of texts and voicemails will leave a phone number for you to call. Don't call that number. Look it up. Yep. Look it up. If you have a statement from your bank or that account, look at the phone number on that actual statement and call that number. Don't call the number in the email that they gave you or on the phone. Yeah, you can call us back to verify. Here's the number. Well, they're just going to give you a scam number and they'll answer saying it's the bank, but you got to watch out for those things. And they've gotten so sophisticated with some of these scams, and they sound so real and legit, a lot of them.
Yeah. They've I mean, I don't know, I guess they've done a really good job, unfortunately, of learning the script and causing fear to make people go into action there. So
yeah. Well, there are so many financial scams out there. It's hard to keep track of them, right?
There's new ones all the time. And, again, we're in the industry where we get notifications on what some of these scams are and what to look out for. Again, anytime a client emails me, I call to verify, it is them that emailed me, that it's not a spoof. You look at those email addresses that these emails come from, if it's not a legitimate website that they come from, don't be clicking on links in those emails.
No, for sure. Yeah. And always verify. It never hurts to double, triple check and verify, does it?
Yeah. No, for sure. Not when it comes to this.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is such an important topic. And that's why also you can rely on a trusted financial professional like yourself if you have questions or aren't sure something's legitimate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's important to have a trusted long-term relationship with an advisor that can, you can bounce these ideas off of, hey, is this legitimate or not? And again, get the beneficiaries involved as well. I do a lot of meetings with clients and their beneficiaries, making sure we're all on the same page. And that way, if there is a cognitive issue or a scam we suspect, we know who to reach out to. And it's not the first time they're meeting me when mom and dad start to be a little more vulnerable in their older age.
Sure. What's one of the worst scams that you've heard of or come across?
Yeah, so there's kind of 5 big scams that are out there right now. The first one that we had touched briefly on this is, hey, we're your mortgage company. You need to make a payment or we're going to take your house. Again, just kind of a debt collector. Most of the time they sound very official. They've got a good script in front of them. But again, when in doubt, pause and verify and talk to someone you trust before actually, if it feels off, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a bad one. And I've heard of that happening. So,
yeah. And again, then the next one is tech support. And we, again, touched briefly on that, but the main one is it'll pop up and say, hey, you've got a virus on your computer. Call this number now, and it'll be a tech support line and they'll pretend to be Microsoft and they'll say, hey, we need access to your computer. But again, it's a scam. They prey on the, older generation that maybe don't know technology that well, or they're a little uncertain about it. And then all of a sudden the screen freezes and this pop-up comes up and it says call for help.
yeah.
But it's a trick. It's a scammer. They sound professional. They say they want access to your computer.
Yep.
But don't give them.
My mother-in-law fell for that one. $3,000 she lost.
Okay.
Total.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's a terrible thing, but that's what's happening out there.
Yeah,
and so again,
it's sad. It makes me angry.
Yeah. And it can be a little emotional, obviously, to be taken advantage of and maybe even a little embarrassing, but it's still important to let somebody know that it happened so that we can get it to stop happening and it doesn't go any further. Because the longer you delay, the more vulnerable you are and the more access they can get to your things there. So,
yeah. Yep. Well, what's another one that you want to point out?
Well, and again, we touched briefly on it, but the government imposter scam.
Oh, yeah.
Again, with Social Security, everybody wants to make sure they're getting their Social Security check that's currently getting it. And so when they threaten that, hey, something's going to happen to your Social Security, it's an easy thing to be alarmed about and create some fear. Or, IRS, hey, you owe us taxes still. And nobody wants the IRS to come after them and take their, put them in jail or whatever they're threatening for that. Medicare is another one too, that they often call and impersonate because again, Medicare is 65 and older. And, again, maybe more vulnerable to some of these phone scams out there. But again, real government agencies don't operate like that. If it feels off, it probably is. Hang up, reach out to someone you trust. Protecting yourself starts with staying informed and staying calm.
Stay informed, stay calm. I like it. I like it.
Another one that we haven't touched on yet either is the grandparent, when they call the grandparents and pretend to be the grandchildren. And that just tugs right at grandpa and grandma's heartstrings.
Yeah.
We know how much grandparents love their grandchildren and do anything for them for the most part. And, so somebody calls and pretends, hey, this is your grandson. And then they say, oh, Billy. And now they've got the name. So then Billy pretends to be Billy. Again, they might threaten of, hey, if I don't get some money, I'm going to jail, or, I'm going to be stuck in this area. I've got car problems. So now I can't fix my car and get back home. And so again, it's one of those things that if that's the case, again, hang up, maybe call the parent of that kid and say, hey, is Billy really in trouble? But again, they also want you to keep it quiet. Hey, don't tell anybody. I don't want mom and dad to find out.
Sure.
That kind of thing. And so again, it's a common one. Like you said, it's one of those that just makes your blood boil on, like, how could you take advantage of someone like that?
So bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
And then one of the last ones that is another really hard one is the romance scam. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these are long plays. So you might have been, online dating's a lot more common than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever the number is. And so there's a lot of people out there that are looking for someone. And then these romance scams, they may talk to you for months or even years. It's kind of a long play. And then they say, hey, and a lot of times they're out of the country. They might say, hey, in order to get my visa, I need you to send me some gift cards so I can, or maybe a ticket so I can get a plane ticket to come see you. Because again, these romance scams are, again, it's taking advantage of someone who's lonely and looking for someone. And these online datings, you can pretend to be whoever you want to be there.
Yeah, that may be the worst one right there.
Yeah,
that's probably the worst. And I've heard about that, friends of friends and people that I've known that's happened to. That's terrible.
Well, one of them was, I had heard of one where the guy went to Target and they said, hey, if you can get me like $10, $100 Target gift cards, we can, I'll be able to afford to do this or that and come see you. Well, then, they go to Target, and even the employees at Target are like, hey, this is a scam. But again, it's taking advantage of someone who wants that love so bad and has been talking to this person for maybe 6 months or a year. And no, they really love me and they do really need this to get by. And so it's a really unfortunate thing. And just remember, one of the things is love doesn't come with a price tag. Real relationships don't require wire transfers. And if anyone starts talking about money, pause and just talk to someone you trust and say, hey, is this legitimate? Whether that's a financial advisor, family member, friend, anything like that. And just, again, it can be embarrassing. It can be fearful. But again, it's important to have open communication and conversations about it.
Yeah, it is. Well, great show today, Ashton. I think you talked about a lot of very important things. Hopefully people will be more aware of these scams and be able to avoid them. But if our listeners have questions or want to get a second opinion on their finances, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, Tony, just give us a call at the office, 952-873-2703. Again, that's 952-873-2703. Visit us at our website, pankoninfinancial.com, PANKONIN financial.com. And again, you can sign up for our newsletters, look at our navigation guide on retirement, and just feel free to reach out. Because again, the open conversation we have on these, the more communication we have on these types of things, the better off we're going to be protected for us and our loved ones from scams like this that are out there.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Ashton. And listeners, that does it for today's episode of the Pankonin Financial Perspective with our host, Ashton Pankonin.
Thank you for joining us for Pankonin Financial Perspective. Don't head into retirement without a plan for both your finances and your health. For more information, contact Ashton Pankonin at Pankonin Financial Group at 952-873-2703 or visit pankoninfinancialgroup.com. Join us again soon for another episode of Pankonin Financial Perspective. Advisory services are offered by Ashton Pankonin LLC DBA Pankonin Financial Group, an investment advisor in the state of Minnesota.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.